What's going on, Vegas? Happy Thursday. It is pushing the limits. Oh, yeah. We're going to have some fun today. Is Pete Hegseth going to get fired? I don't know. I mean, he might be fired. He might be fired now. I don't know. But we're going to be diving more deep into the Signal Chat stuff, where House members have been briefed on some very troubling information in regards to that. And meanwhile, Kash Patel bragging about how they believe they got the suspect for the Capitol bomber. We'll get into that too. And the second strike on this boat, more fallout there as well. So a lot of stuff to get to and more controversy within the Donald Trump administration. What a shocker. Also, I will say I have a new stalker. I have had stalkers in my life. Sadly, because of doing this show, I've had some stalkers. But this is a male stalker by the name of Andrew Wilson. He is obsessed with me, and he's now commentating. I'm being a little facetious, but he's commentating on my work now on his social media platforms, which I find extremely funny. To talk about all this and more, we missed him yesterday. People were asking about him. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Leonard Cardinale, will be co-hosting with me today. Leonard, it is good to see you. How are you?
Hey, Brian. How's it going? A lot going on out there.
There is.
What's the deal with Wilson?
Oh, well, we're going to get to that in a moment.
Did he actually?
He's obsessed with me.
Did he ask you to go out with him or anything?
So I will say this: we are going to be playing some audio because he attacked a woman for being gay, which is obviously horrible.
Well, that's part of their whole.
He called her a dyke, and I'm like, you're attacking someone for being gay, and you call yourself a man with, this religious background. I mean, just
Eastern Orthodox Christian.
Yeah.
Ethics.
And he told her to lick schniz. So I'll get to the story in a couple minutes because there's more important stuff to talk about. But long story short, we'll get more into this later. I should lick his wife's schniz, and they would probably have a better marriage.
Or he might be happier and stop smoking.
I was on a right-wing talk show that I called in, and then he called in. So we had another conversation there. We'll get to that in just a few moments. Also, I had a very special person gave me an early Christmas gift, believe it or not. I wanted to show this on the air. I've never had a Christmas tree before.
Oh,
I now have a Christmas tree. Now, knowing the way I am with these types of gadgets, 3 days to break it, but I do have a Christmas tree. I don't have a Hanukkah tree. There's no such thing as a Hanukkah tree, but this is a very beautiful
What
Christmas
do they call
tree.
it, a menorah?
Yeah, you're asking me? You think I'm a religious person and I know what I'm talking about? I mean, I am circumcised. That's about it. You didn't need to know that.
That's as close as I come.
Yeah, exactly. Literally and figuratively. But anyway, thank you. Thank you to the special person who gave me this as a gift. It was very nice of them. All right. So before we get to the more maybe fun stuff, not to say that it's not fun covering the news every day. It's a little bit stressful. I warned you guys, not you. You knew who Pete Hegseth was. But when I say you guys, I warned everybody on this show what a destructive, abusive, piece of human garbage and incompetent person Pete Hegseth is, right? We covered the Signal Chat stuff, and obviously he put troops in harm's way. Well, two top House lawmakers and others are talking a little bit about this private briefing with a military official who oversaw the drug vessel attack. And there are also people that were briefed on this Signal Chat, and there was a bipartisan investigation into it, and that investigation showed or proved that, yes, Pete Hegseth put our own brave men and women in uniform in harm's way because of that Signal Chat, which, by the way, shouldn't be surprising to anybody, but there was no fallout, really, no accountability. Caroline Leavitt, the lying you-know-what Leavitt, said that there's nothing to see here, and now this new briefing, and you have some politicians and lawmakers coming out saying, wow, this is really good.
Hegseth said he unclassified it in his mind.
Yep.
Do you want me to read a little bit of what he exactly said before we do the segment?
Please do. Yep.
So he says, just confirmed with CENTCOM, we are a go for mission launch. 12:15 Eastern time, F-18s launch, first strike package, 13:45, trigger-based, F-18 first strike window starts. MQ-9s, 14:10. This is military time, by the way, for those who don't know. More F-18s launch, second strike package, 14:15, strike drones on target. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop.
What an idiot. What an idiot.
Now, what if the combatants, the enemy combatants, that what if they had heard that and they knew this was coming at that exact time?
And fair point, and that is why they concluded in this investigation that absolutely put troops in harm's way. The fact that Pete Hegseth is still the defense secretary is mesmerizing to me, but I'm going to give you my opinion now. Ron Filipowski and I both agreed that Kash Patel is probably the next person to go, but I'm going to put Pete Hegseth right ahead of him right now.
Well, bipartisan committees are calling for his removal.
Right. So I think Hegseth is probably the next person to go, and then he can crawl his way back to Fox News and maybe do another weekend anchor show or whatever the hell else he's going to do.
I think he was just a commentator, right? He wasn't an anchor, right?
You know, you're not very talented when you can't even get a Monday through Friday gig when you are a Trump mushroom gobbler 24/7, and they still won't hire you.
Is he in the running for Trump mushroom gobbler of the day?
I haven't decided on that yet, but anyway, this is some serious stuff. And this double tap strike that killed surviving crew members is obviously a war crime. And I do find it very interesting that this happened several months ago. Okay. They have video of the second strike, but they haven't released it. They've edited out the second strike. They've only showed the first strike. And I find it quite interesting.
Trump said he certainly would when asked in a news conference.
Yeah.
He was asked and he said, I certainly would, but they still haven't sent it out. And by the way, it comes right out of the Military Code of Justice. The definition is if they're shipwrecked. The word shipwrecked is in their actual policy, and people are floating in the water. You have to not only not murder them, you have to take them into custody and provide care. That's what the American Military Code of Justice says.
Of course. So, again, they're going to defend Pete Hegseth until they can't anymore. I'd like to know if they're so transparent. Why won't they show the second strike?
We know why.
And listen, I'm not here to defend drug dealers, but here's the problem. Even if you are a drug dealer, is it okay to execute somebody? Of course not. They deserve their day in court, and we deserve to know the facts in this. And I guarantee you, if the tide was flipped and it was Joe Biden or Barack Obama or another Democrat who did something like this, they would be calling on their resignation. Or impeachment. Yeah. So this is really bad stuff. And again, not like we're putting the Epstein stuff in the back burner, because that hasn't even been put out there yet. But it's like one controversy and one thing after another. Now we're talking about war crimes. And it's mesmerizing to me, but this is what happens when you put incompetent people in powerful positions. We know this. Kash Patel, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. God knows how many people have died because of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s anti-vaccine rhetoric. Kristi Noem, who is one of the worst human beings. Cosplay Kristi. Hard. Oh my God. Cosplay Kristi, one of the worst human beings around.
There's a reason, Brian, why it takes 25, 30 years and a solid career to become the director of the FBI, the leader of the Department of Justice. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why you have an entire career that you're there for decades.
And by the way, it doesn't matter whether they think these people are drug dealers or drug smugglers or not. Let me be very clear here. It is considered a war crime to kill shipwrecked people.
Yes.
Period. There is no caveat to that. And their defense is, well, we wanted to get rid of all these people because they're drug smugglers. You are breaking the law. These are war crimes. The United States is supposed to set the standard, and it's wrong. And it shouldn't matter whether it's a Republican or a Democrat that is doing this, because I guarantee you, if there was a Democrat in office right now and they did the same thing, I'd be calling that out as well. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about Joe Biden. We're not talking about Barack Obama, what you think he did or didn't do. We are talking about the President of the United States. The buck stops with him. And of course, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who was claiming he wasn't in the room and he didn't give out the command.
I'm glad you said that, because the Department of Defense, the leader of the Department of Defense, does not get to say, oh, by the way, I left the room. You don't get to say that. When you're in charge, you're the guy. You're the Secretary of Defense.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if the Admiral did it.
Yeah.
Pete Hegseth is still responsible and liable. And I don't know if you know, but behind the scenes, the Trump administration has been pressuring the ICC, the International Criminal Court, by saying they're going to pull funding, by saying that they're going to not partner with them anymore. And the ICC in a news article said that they're going to go ahead with the charges anyway, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
So this is just getting worse and worse by the day as more information will continue to come out.
It's
by
terrible.
The way,
it's murder.
Some of you might be wondering, how did this boat story come to be? There are people that work for the government that are fed up with what Pete Hegseth is doing. This is a story that was leaked. There are people that work underneath Pete Hegseth somebody, a person or persons that leaked this information to the Washington Post and to the media because they find it extremely troubling. Now, I would call those people actual real patriots. They see that, wait a second, something's not right here. A second strike, kill all survivors. Wait, we can't be doing this stuff. I have to leak this to somebody. I would call that person or persons,
Since
whoever
when
you
does
are,
kill them all a military order?
Well, I'm
Since
very
when?
grateful that there are still some people that have a moral compass. And then there's a fallout guy here, Pete Hegseth. Obviously, these are through his orders. Okay, I don't care what the White House says. It is a joke. So we're going to continue to monitor both of these stories. The Signalgate story did not go away. Now they were briefed on this, and it's worse than we thought.
They said Pete Hegseth put troops in danger.
Right. It's worse than we thought for some of us. So that story's not going away. Pete Hegseth is on the hot seat there. And then, of course, on this second strike, which is an abomination, and I would absolutely call it a war crime. So we're covering both of these stories. And I want to switch topics here, if I may. And don't worry, we will be taking phone calls today. So for those of you that are unaware, I appeared on Piers Morgan last week, and one of the panel members on there was somebody that I'm not extremely fond of. His name's Andrew Wilson. He's the guy who considers himself a master debater, who smokes a lot of cigarettes and does a lot of debates.
He lights them while he's on the air.
It's really bizarre and unprofessional.
It is.
It's really weird. He's a weird dude. Okay. But we had our own debate that I played you some clips of that earlier this week. And it wasn't much of a debate because we were supposed to be talking about Donald Trump's conduct. And instead it turned into a religious conversation and a conversation about where he gets his ethics from, which I really don't care where he gets it from. They're your ethics. Don't care where it came from. Let's debate Donald Trump. But it turned into everything was about abortion. I would bring stuff up about Donald Trump, and he'd say, well, that doesn't rise to the level of all the babies that would have been murdered if Donald Trump wasn't president of the United States. Can't have a debate with somebody like that.
Can I say something real quick? Because Andrew Wilson never got to any legitimate, intelligent point. He didn't make any lucid argument about abortion. He didn't talk about any of the details. He just said what he is anti-birth, in my opinion. I mean, pro-birth. But once they're born, he wants nothing to do with them. And we didn't bring, you guys didn't talk about the 12-year-old girl who was raped by her brother.
I wanted to.
And what about the teenage girl that gets pregnant and doesn't really want to have the baby, but you can have it anyway and have it adopted? I mean, there's so many different types.
And what's even worse than that is that he would just bring up abortion every time.
And when he got lost, he would go back to ethics. Right. And ethics are extremely personal and they're subjective.
Yeah.
Like you could say some people think what Donald Trump and Pam Bondi are doing is ethical. So is that not subjective? What's objective is the right and wrong, what you were saying, the right and wrong of it. The difference between throwing an old lady under a bus and helping her on the bus.
And he would say, well,
anybody can understand that, Brian.
And it's not a debate because he would just simply say, well, that's not as bad as all the babies that are being
murdered.
And he
kept telling you, calm down. Don't interrupt. And then you know what he did? I don't know if you noticed, but as soon as you let him speak and then went back to you, as soon as you spoke, he interrupted you every single time.
Right. So that's not going to happen again. I'll get to that. So anyway, there were like 20 different shows in the last 2 days that were breaking down, probably more than that. 20 shows that I've seen that were breaking down our debate or lack thereof. So I'm on YouTube. I'm at a friend's house the other day. And as I'm scrolling through my phone and I'm watching the Vegas Golden Knights game with a friend, I see that there's this one right-wing host. He wasn't really being like disrespectful. He was clearly an Andrew Wilson fan, decent following. And I figured I would surprise him. And I kind of zoomed into his show. And I put in the chat, hey, I'll join your show. Because he was criticizing me a little bit, and I'm not afraid to debate anybody. So anyway, I zoom into this guy's show, and I'm criticizing Andrew Wilson a little bit. Guess who decides to show up in the middle of the show?
I'm guessing Andrew Wilson.
Yes. This guy's a stalker. And we'll get to the point, by the way, where he's now analyzing my videos on YouTube, which is hilarious. We'll play that. So this is the point where Andrew Wilson phones in, and I think I said some funny things. I'm only going to play you a little excerpt of it.
Okay.
Like 4 minutes or so. And then we're trying to reschedule another debate. And I'm giving him a few cheap shots. And he wants me to apologize to him.
Apologize?
It's kind of funny. And we talk about the schniz comment that he made because I keep bringing that up because I know it bothers him. Anyway, I think you're going to find this entertaining. This happened I call into this right-wing show, and then Andrew Wilson calls in when he sees I'm there. Have a listen to this. Okay, I don't know what happened to our audio, but something happened there where I wanted it to continue to play, but I guess there are people on YouTube that are saying that they can't hear anything. Are we good to go now? Okay, let's continue. Well, how did I start?
Can you at least admit it? Well, you started to dive in. Well, the first thing is that you claimed that I called this woman a whore, and so I brought up that was false. And then near the end, you were talking about an out of context clip, which has been shown all over the internet, which was out of context. Where this hang on, let me finish, bro. Hang on. I'll give you a chance, I promise. Okay. The thing is that woman was making false claims, right? She was attacking. She was trying to do a Hail Mary because she had been destroyed in a debate. Okay. And so she did a Hail Mary. And then what happened is they diced that clip up, right? That's what they did. They diced it all up, sent it out, right? In order to have a Zerg on me. When you attempt to go personal with me, then I'll do the same thing. But I don't like doing that, bro. I'd have a debate with you the entire time and never bring up anything about that stuff. But Andrew, you can't do that first and then cry foul.
Okay, so Andrew, whether you think it was out of context or not, you did not react in a way that an adult would react. You could have said, hey, what you're saying about me is not true, and here's why. Instead, you proceeded to call her a dyke. You said she licks sniz. By the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, whether you're straight or gay. So that's really a weird insult. You should try it sometime, Andrew. And number three, I'm sure your wife would like it. Number three, when you say something that is blatant.
See what I mean? Yeah, hang on. Do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean by trying immediately to first?
Andrew,
okay. Yeah.
Andrew,
leave him finish, but you're going to go ahead, Brian.
Andrew,
see what I mean?
That was a joke. That was meant for levity. I'm sure you've done it before, and I'm sure you have a great your wife. And by the way, I don't care about your sex life. It was a joke. Okay, calm down.
Okay.
Number three.
Yeah, I know.
Something that's
fine for you to do that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I know people that have committed suicide. Last year,
so do I.
Somebody that I went to high school with, who I was very close with, committed suicide. So I'm very.
Well, it sounds to me like you just have a double standard. That you just say rules for me.
Andrew.
Well, Andrew. Brian, I just listened to what you said. Can you?
No, you
respond?
gave me 8 seconds. I made a joke. You got offended. You interrupted me, and you gave me 8 seconds to respond. No, you didn't.
Andrew, Brian.
I thought I did. I did.
Wrap up, Brian. Like 30 seconds. Wrap up, and then we'll give Andrew
20 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, that's 8 seconds longer than Donald Trump lasted with Stormy Daniels, Andrew. That's another joke, by the way. I never have ever told anybody to commit suicide. I take that very personally. Now, if you think I took something out of context with the schniz comment, okay, fine, we can talk about that. But I would never lie and say something like that about you. It was inappropriate, it was wrong, and you should admit that you were wrong in doing so.
I'll tell you what. If you want to act like adults, let's act like adults. How about this? How about you apologize and I'll apologize? How's that?
And just so I'm aware, because what do you want me to apologize for again?
Well, because you, near the end of that debate, you started to try to dig into things out of the context of the debate to attack me with it.
Can I ask you about that? You did tell her to lick schniz. Did I misquote you?
Let's just say I was guilty of everything. What did that have to do with the debate?
Okay, I'll answer that. You're a man of Christ. You're a religious man. That doesn't mean that you're perfect. I understand that. but I don't believe, without getting into a deep dive into religion, that anybody would say that a Christian talk to a woman that way, regardless of the way. You should be the bigger man, regardless of what.
Yeah.
Now, I agree. I
But
don't want
what
to
does that have to do with the debate? But what does that have to do with the debate? The debate's not whether or not Andrew Wilson, if Andrew Wilson is a good Christian or not.
Okay. But almost the whole debate was about your beliefs, Christianity, and why you're against abortion and all these other things. So that's not being a good Christian. I'm not a religious person, but when you attack a woman for being gay, which is exactly what you did, you called her a dyke, which I think is beneath you to do that. I don't think you acted appropriately. Now, I didn't take anything out of context. I'm quoting you. That's what you said.
Well, wait a second. Hang on. This was only brought up as an attack on me. That's it.
Well,
it's the only reason you brought it up.
It was brought
because
up
you were trying to say that. Yeah, exactly. Because you're trying to say I'm a fake Christian. How's that not going personal, Brian?
So the whole conversation is about our personal beliefs. And
but what you're doing by saying that I'm a fake Christian, it's the most personalized thing you can do. And then you're trying to use this as an example. It's a personal attack, dude. So when you get personal, I get personal back. But here's the thing. I didn't do that the entire debate until you did. So I'll tell you what, if you apologize for that, I'll apologize back and put it behind us. Doesn't that seem fair?
But by the way, when the debate started, I said I did not want the debate to go that way. That was not my objective. So
well, I don't know why you did that, Ben. I didn't do it to you. You did it to me.
I think part of it was a little bit of frustration because I think there was some miscommunication, not with you, but with your moderator. See, Andrew, this is why I don't like having moderators in a third person. It should have been a direct conversation before you and I debated. And that's why I asked for your phone number so I could have a conversation with you so that next time if we do this, that doesn't happen anymore. There's no miscommunication. We know exactly
what we'll do. I'll tell you what we can do next time.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I still want to have a moderator, but the three of us can discuss what the topic will be before we actually do the debate.
Okay, so that's how that went down.
He's such a whiner.
He's such a crybaby.
He is.
Little B. Like he's such a crybaby. By the way, I didn't take anything out of context. He got annoyed at a woman who was probably making a very good point about his wife who has three, daddies from three different kids. I didn't bring that up with Andrew. She did. He got triggered. I didn't take anything out of context. He literally called her a dyke in an insulting way, mocking her for being gay, which is, by the way, an abomination for anybody to do that. And then tells her to lick schniz. And I literally made the point that is a very weird way of insulting somebody. Now, without getting too sexual on the radio, which I'm not going to do, performing that on a woman, whether you're gay or straight, why would he mock somebody for doing that?
It doesn't even sound like an insult, really.
Yeah, like what? I don't understand. I don't even understand the insult.
But here's the thing. Was that ethical to say that?
No, of course not.
Well, he's Mr. Ethics, so which one is it?
Here's the bottom line, and we're going to get more into this, but here's the bottom line. Andrew is an extremely insecure person. In every single debate.
Very fragile.
Every single debate, he has to tell people, I won the debate. I won. It's like a 13-year-old girl in high school or 14-year-old boy or girl who's in some debate class, and they go home to their mommy or daddy and say, Mommy, I think I won the debate today. That's what Andrew sounds like. He said it again. I destroyed her in the debate.
Well, he lives in a different reality.
That's subjective. Not everybody thinks you're winning these debates, Andrew. Some of your cultist sicko fans probably think you'll win every debate because they're idiots. But you have to, and he did that in my debate. It wasn't even really a debate. I beat you, Brian. I beat you. Like a 12-year-old. Andrew is an extremely insecure guy. Now, he's a short, fat dude, okay? And I think he smokes these cigarettes in the middle of interviews because he thinks it makes him look like a man. It makes him look better.
Well, he was actually lighting them. He was like,
yeah, it's so weird.
Hey, Brian, what are your ethics?
Yeah.
Because you're not saying, man.
While
what are your ethics?
While he's addicted to nicotine and the guy can't even get through an interview without chain smoking. Listen, he's a very insecure guy. I make more money than you. I have a bigger house than you. I have a larger following than you. I beat you in the debate. By the way, we didn't even have a debate. We didn't really talk about any issues because he was fixated on, well, where do you get your belief system from?
Why does he need a moderator? Answer me that.
Because
what person, like I would go on and debate anyone and would not have my first requirement be, well, I'll debate you, Brian, but I'll do it again, but we have to have a moderator.
Yeah.
What's the moderator for? I don't get it.
First of
to
all,
cover him?
with all due respect to the moderator, who I do not think did a good job.
No, he was totally on his
It's
side.
one of Andrew's pals because he's capable of debating somebody one-on-one without a moderator. I don't care who it is. I don't need a moderator. I will debate somebody. And Andrew is a very insecure person. Again, when you say, I won the debate, Brian, I beat you, I won the debate. And then he needs to hear his sycophant cultist followers say, oh, you destroyed Brian. You know, I had an off-the-air conversation with Tim Pool. And by the way, I know there's people that listen to this show that don't like Tim Pool, but I will say this. I could sit down with Tim Pool and have a debate. We could talk about
professional.
We could talk about the issues and have a debate.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care where my belief system comes from. That will not come up. We had a debate. It was a real debate. And off the air, and I don't think Tim would mind me saying this, he said, listen, my listeners and the people that are on my side are going to think I destroyed you. Your listeners are going to think
that makes more sense.
Yeah. And I said, Tim, I agree with you. And guess what? He doesn't care. And I don't care. That's why me and Tim get along, because we get it. Now, I don't agree with him on a lot of issues, but I could sit down and have a conversation with, by the way, he doesn't need a moderator either. Andrew Wilson is not a very smart person. He's extremely insecure with himself. Extremely.
I don't
insecure.
even think he understands his own Christian religion, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And so now I've learned after all this that Andrew was taking my videos and he's obsessed with me because I guess he can't come up with his own material.
Was he clipping them out of context?
Well, you can be the judge of that, but he's taking my videos and now he's dissecting them and talking about them. By the way, he's not very good at this either. And I had a guy on this show a few weeks ago by the name of Warren Smith. He's got 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. And this is another guy who dissects my videos. So I said, you know what? Instead of dissecting my videos, why don't we just have a debate, right? So I had a debate with this guy, Warren, about gun control. And this is the way that Andrew Wilson decides to carry on his day, by doing research on me, by dissecting my videos. Anyway, have a listen to this. Can you give me an example of one MAGA Republican that has been consistent about doing something about all the gun violence in this country? Anything? Have they proposed?
Me.
Okay, but lawmaker. I appreciate you doing that, but can you name me a lawmaker that is on the right that don't have their AR-15 pins or brag about their A+ rating from the NRA, that they actually want to work with Democrats and say, hey, we need to do something about all the violence in this country?
Yeah, but maybe they disagree with the Democrats' approach. Maybe the Democrats disagree so strongly with them.
Barack Obama, after the Sandy Hook, tried to do anything and everything he could to pass anything into law.
So what do you think we should do for gun violence?
I'm glad you asked, and then I'll ask you the same question. I can name about 5 or 6 different things, and I'm glad you asked that question, by the way, because I think there's too many people out there that don't ask that question.
Okay.
I think, first of all, the age should be 18 to 21. I'm very uncomfortable with an 18-year-old walking into a gun store, buying thousands of rounds of ammunition.
Yep.
At number 2, I think there should be a mandatory 2-hour class. Now, I understand if you drive a car, it's a privilege. It's not a right. I get that. But when you get into a vehicle, we want people to drive safely, right? That's why you have an instructor. They check your health. They check your eyesight. Give me a 2-hour class on the basics. How to hold a gun, how to store a gun, how to shoot a gun. That's it. I think you should have to re-register your gun, just like you have to re-register a car. I also am a firm believer in red flag laws. Now, they're very inconsistent. I'm not saying if you don't like your neighbor, you should be allowed to call the police and say, hey, he threatened me, and then they take that person's away. No, that's not fair. It should be a case-by-case basis. In some states, a husband could leave his wife a message, God forbid, saying, I'm going to kill you tonight. That husband would probably be arrested for a threat, but then the next day, in some states, not all, that person would have the right to buy a gun until he sees his day in court. You know, I think red flag laws need to be stronger. And then there is the weapons of war, as I would call them. And without getting into the weeds on which weapons are weapons of war or not, I know.
Of course, the problem here with this argument is obvious. Can anybody see the issue with his argument here?
Andrew dissecting.
The main issue that you can just point out right away on Ben Shapiro here. Nope, it's not.
Wait, stop. Pause it. Wait, did he just call me Ben Shapiro?
It's kind of like Ben
Shapiro. Can anybody see the issue with his argument here? The main issue that you can just point out right away on Ben Shapiro here.
You just called me Ben Shapiro, you idiot.
He's
clown.
reeling.
Owen Wilson. Let's call him Owen Wilson the rest of the show. No, that's. I don't want to degrade Owen Wilson because I like Owen Wilson. All right, go ahead. Let this.
Nope, it's not unconstitutional. You don't even need to make the constitutional argument. What Brian Shapiro said here.
There you go. You got it right. Thank you.
That you could, that he wants to see these things strengthened because you could, within some perception, make a threat to like your wife, and then the next day you get out and you still have access to your. The problem is what about accusation?
Oh my God!
So
stop
you could just make an accusation that there was a threat with zero proof.
That's not enough.
Did this idiot not just listen to what I just said? First of all, I clarified it. It's like the guy can't get the MAGA wax or the nicotine out of his ears or whatever the hell.
You covered it.
I just said if I don't want someone to just make a phone call and say, hey, he threatened me, and then take his guns away. I just said that's not fair. I literally, hold on, 20 seconds before he just said that, I clarified. It's a case-by-case basis.
And that's not the way the law works.
No. It's like he's not even listening to me.
You can't just accuse anyone of anything and without it being investigated.
Yeah. By the way, people are wondering why the word gun is being bleeped. We're not doing that. I guess that's on his platforms when he's doing. So I just want to make it clear. This is his audio, not mine. He's taking some of my audio and they're bleeping it out. So he just didn't listen to what I just said. I'm not saying that every single threat, you immediately take someone's guns away. I literally clarified that. And it's like he calls himself the master debater and he doesn't know. I think he's a masturbator, not a master debater.
It's kind of like
that's what I think he is.
Isn't that really what Charlie Kirk did? Didn't he take people's words, twist it, and then quickly make a point on the twisted words so people couldn't really follow along what he was saying? And they're like, oh, that makes sense.
So a couple minutes into this video, he already is making statements about this video and misquoting and mischaracterizing my take. All right, let's continue.
In Brian's world, that would bar you from having access to your firearms. Well, obviously, that would be a very big problem to bar people access from things they have rights to, perceptually under the Constitution, if it is the case that they can simply make an accusation without any proof whatsoever. That's the problem. Yeah, false allegations, exactly.
There's an assault weapons ban put forth in the early 80s that was fizzled out by Republicans. Violence went way down. You could look at the statistics.
Yeah, and then Clinton got one passed, and then Columbine happened during it.
In the early 80s. Now, I'm not saying, Warren, give me all those things. All I'm simply saying is give me one or two of those things. It won't end all the violence in this country.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Sure.
What is an assault weapon?
Again, going into the weeds of what an assault weapon is. Here's the way.
That's not going into the weeds.
Actually, it is.
That's asking for specifics.
Actually, it is. I would define it. Many of these that are used, like the that were used in Las Vegas, the that were used in Columbine, the that were used in the Buffalo, the that was used.
Columbine happened during an assault weapons ban.
Not true.
I remember correctly.
No,
somebody fact check me on that.
Yeah,
I think that's accurate. It happened during an assault weapons ban.
Wrong. That happened in the early 80s and it fizzled out because of Republicans. There was not an assault weapons ban during the Columbine shooting, which, correct me if I'm wrong, was somewhere around the year 2000. Do I have that right?
That's about right.
Okay. So again, Andrew has no idea what he's talking about. Go ahead.
Well,
and they were using pretty low tech, unsophisticated weapons, and some other things.
In the Texas El Paso, there are certain weapons that are built for one reason and one reason only: not to defend yourself, to as many bullets as possible in a short period of time to kill as many people. Now, again, we can get into the weeds on what exactly those weapons are, but back when our forefathers were putting the Constitution together,
that's really important, that distinction.
So if you don't think there should be an assault weapons ban, let's just assume that that's your take. Give me some solutions that you and let's forget about the assault weapons ban for a moment.
First, we'd have to figure out what an assault weapon is.
I understand your point. Let's just say, okay, let's forget about the assault weapons ban for a moment, that we disagree on that. What are some things that you think we should do? Because I named you like
Andrew. I've watched a lot of your debates. I work in healthcare and have been asking epistemologicalizing questions to my colleagues' worldviews. Two of them will be coming to Divine Liturgy this month. All this to say, thank you, sir. No problem. They had semi-automatic Tech 9 and with pipe bombs. Well, the Tech 9 is considered.
5 or 6 things that you think would make this country
And it was semi-automatic, if I remember correctly.
be safer when it comes to.
Sure, but it's still difficult. So I'll do my best to answer that, given that we don't know what an assault weapon is, though. But so we'll just say in general then. So because we can't define what an assault weapon is, I don't think banning assault weapons is a reasonable one. We'll take that off the table. I agree with you about the class. So in Massachusetts, I recently just went through this whole process. You have to, for me to get a hunting rifle, any kind of rifle, I have to get an LTC, license to carry, which takes 6 months on average in Massachusetts. That's to even get a hunting rifle. You have to go to a class. You have to go to the police department, fill out the application. You have to get 3 references. Depending on the town, this can change. They might require a letter.
That's.
And my question is, what do you mean by the reference? Who's a good reference for me to be able to get a? And what if you don't like my references? Can you revoke my ability to? I thought this was a constitutional right. There's some very strange things being done in this area, though. The problem with this model is that when you say to even get a hunting rifle, you have to go.
Warren is not being pedantic. I'm actually tired of the low IQ people thinking that because you ask people to tell you what it is that they're referencing so that you don't get a proprietary definition of a thing, or so that you can kind of walk through the logic of it with them, that's being pedantic. He asked this what an assault weapons was, what is it? And he couldn't answer. That's not being a pedant. That's being specific.
Through this, it's the most frustrating.
So first of all, I thought I was being specific when I pointed to some of the biggest mass shootings in this country, and I was very specific. And I said the guns that were used in Las Vegas, the gun that was used in the Buffalo shooting, the gun
Those are assault rifles.
the gun that was used in the Texas El Paso shooting. That is being very specific to some horrible crimes that took place, and I'm referencing the guns that were used. And then he uses the term, quote, low IQ. So let me get this right to the chain-smoking schniz buffoon. It doesn't take somebody with a low IQ. It takes somebody with a moral compass to say there's too many innocent people in this country that are dying, including children, at the hands of gun violence. Even with an assault weapons ban put aside for a moment, if you noticed, Andrew doesn't come up with any solutions. He doesn't say, well, I disagree.
He just wanted to debate your solutions.
I disagree with Brian, but I have no solutions. Hence the Donald Trump fellatio syndrome. I don't like Obamacare, but I have no replacement plan. Andrew Sniz Liquor. Can I call him that? Andrew Wilson?
I think that's okay. Is Sniz Liquor okay?
Are we allowed to say Sniz Liquor? Okay. So Andrew the Sniz Liquor, or lack thereof, from what I understand, says, I have a low IQ because I want to do something about gun control. He claims I can't define what an assault weapon is. And I said the same weapons that were used in this shooting, that shooting, that shooting, and that shooting. I think that's very specific. Now, if he disagrees with me, no problem. Give me some solutions. But if you notice, Andrew doesn't have any solutions. Okay. The only solution Andrew has to anything is to attack women for being gay, attack them for performing fellatio on other women, and I guess call somebody a low IQ because he wants to come up with solutions, me, for ending all the gun violence.
Let me ask you a question, Brian. What does tighter gun registration and maybe some training have to do with whether or not you know the definition of an assault rifle? And by the way, the thing that differentiates a hunting style rifle, like a bolt action, wooden frame, and what really differentiates with military style, when it becomes more military style, that's when the assault definition starts to take over. And let me just say, he used example of a Tech 9. A Tech 9 can hold 20, 30 round magazines, but it's 9mm. 9mm can only shoot, you might be able to hurt somebody at 50 yards maximum. Now an AR-15, 500 yards, maybe more, rapid fire, small bullet, high velocity, lots of damage, lots of damage to human bodies.
You have knowledge on this as being a former cop, and you have far more knowledge on this topic than I do. And I understand when I don't have the knowledge that, say, you have on this issue. So what did I say? The weapons that were used in these incidents. I tried to be as specific.
But the
as
point
possible.
was, you were saying tighter gun registration.
Right.
And how about some education?
Right.
And how about we limit the but he wants to talk about the very definition. He didn't actually talk about the points that you were making. What's the downside? He said to your raising the age to 21 is, why would you take away the rights of someone who otherwise have those rights? But that's all of society. That's drinking, that's gambling, that's driving.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Those are
And
societal norms.
This is the guy who calls himself the master debater. I'm sure his wife calls him the masturbator, but this is the guy who calls himself the master debater, who actually people pay him for debating courses. By the way, don't you have anything better to do, Andrew, than to watch my YouTube videos and do these videos of your own?
No, you have a stalker now, Brian.
And try to make money off of my own material. You're an idiot. Okay. Speaking of idiots, in this next video, the title is Brian Shapiro is a lying idiot. So in this video that we're going to play for you, where Andrew dissects another one of my videos, he also dissected and did a video on my debate with Tim Pool. So I'm not like dissecting his own content. I'm literally dissecting his dissection of my content. So here's another video that Andrew did, because he is now, I guess, a cultist of Brian Shapiro. I guess, I don't know. He's literally licking my schniz.
He's bearing false witness against you.
That's
that's in the Bible.
He is. So here's another video that Andrew did. This is like a day or two ago, where I talked about Ashley Babbitt. I've said this time and time again about Ashley Babbitt. I stand by it. Ashley Babbitt deserved what she got. Now, it's a very sad situation. I wish it didn't happen, but she put herself in that situation on January 6th when somebody's pointing a gun at you and you're 10 feet away from a bunch of lawmakers and you have somebody pointing a gun at you that says, stand down, get down, and you don't do it. Guess what?
And don't come through the window.
Yeah,
don't move any further.
Yeah.
And
I mean, how many times do people need to understand? They call her a patriot and a hostage, you scumbags out there. She was a deranged individual who clearly was radicalized from Donald Trump's rhetoric. Anyway, have a listen to this. And I hope you get deported to Gaza. And I mean that, sir. You are a racist idiot.
Why are you raising your voice?
Yeah, okay. I'm raising my voice because you're a moron. That's why.
I'm tuning in here. I just don't understand why you're making race an issue, accusing Trump of being a racist. He's not. I mean, how is it racist by him cracking down these major cities? I don't understand.
Sure, I'll answer you, my friend. So first of all, these cities that he has talked about, they all happen to have black mayors. So let me ask you a question then. Why is it that he'd go into D.C. and Chicago when per capita the crime rates are lower than they are in many other cities across the country that have white Republican mayors and white Republican governors? Why is that, sir?
So it appears that Shapiro's argument here is that Trump is a racist because he's trying to send in and bolster law enforcement inside of areas which have black mayors. And so he's only doing this because they have black mayors, not because there's crime issues.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
That's not the point.
First of all, Andrew, that is not the only reason why I would call Donald Trump a racist. There are plenty of other reasons. Number two, can Andrew give me a reasoning behind why he's not putting these troops into some of the most dangerous cities in the country, many of which are run by Republican mayors, but he's only choosing to Chicago, D.C., he's talked about Baltimore. Why is he only choosing to do it in cities that are run by black mayors? That is the point that I'm making. Now, I could give clear-cut evidence as to why Donald Trump is a racist. I could talk about the thousands of discrimination lawsuits.
Since the 80s.
Yeah, I could talk about the thousands of discrimination lawsuits he's had to pay out because he didn't want brown people living in his buildings in New York City. I could talk about a quote where he said he didn't want black people counting his
sending
money.
out thugs to take brown people into custody and deport them, even if they're American.
Don't want brown people counting my money.
Somalians.
Don't want brown people counting my money in my casinos. I want Jews counting my money. This is a guy who has a history of being a racist, and his own father was arrested at a Klan rally. Good old Freddie the Grand Wizard Trump. Okay, who, by the way, Freddie, I hope you're burning in hell. I really mean that. Right next to Rush Limbaugh.
Andrew twisted it out of context, which is unethical.
So they're right. I agree.
He's so unethical.
Yeah. So there, his ethical stance.
He is. He's so unethical.
Yeah, he really is. So the chain smoking, schniz, non-licking Andrew Wilson, again, a minute into this video, totally mischaracterizing the point. Go ahead.
Well, quite frankly, the the culture of the inner cities that
The
are ran
culture?
Chicago, DC.
The culture?
The culture.
What do you mean by that?
The black culture.
Oh,
The
okay.
black culture.
The black culture. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Was it black culture on January 6th in DC? Was that black culture, sir? What?
So first debate strategy employed here is he's not going to talk about the topic at hand, but he's going to shift to the next topic. What the fuck does January 6th have to do with what they're discussing right this second?
I will tell you, Andrew, it's called a double standard. And he's saying it's a debate strategy. By the way, I don't have these conversations with callers and he's talking like he's some sort of professor. Let me be very clear. Andrew's not a professor, okay? He's not some debate strategist, okay? He claims he's one. He's not. The reason why I brought up January 6th, and you know this, the caller, who I believe is a racist, is calling people thugs and animals during Black Lives Matter protests, and he's calling it, the culture. Right?
You brought up something that is a fact. If you go to debate 101 in college, even though not even the 202 or the 101, they will tell you that when you're providing facts and you make a lucid argument, and January 6th is something that actually happened.
Leonard, you know,
and he's making a comparison. Yeah, and I would say, and this is not just because we're on the show together, but that is how you debate.
Thank you. And if you're going to call somebody an animal for attacking a cop on January for Black Lives Matter protests, which, by the way, I think is horrible, then wouldn't you call somebody an animal who beat police officer on January 6th? I'm bringing it up because I want consistency. And Andrew, the non-snizlicker, doesn't understand that. I want to continue.
Lying about that is unethical.
Right, it is.
Nothing. There's nothing to do with it at all.
Oh, my God.
Black culture have anything to do with J6? What does that have to do with what you're discussing, dude?
Beating cops, dumbass.
Patriotism.
No, patriotism. Okay, so it's black culture when it's crime, but if you beat police officers on January 6th, that's patriotism. Is that what you're saying, sir? Is that what you're saying? Because you sound like okay. Well, then you're an idiot.
This is a very typical tactic.
No.
That's really good.
I'm stopping it again, real quickly. This goes to show you who Andrew Wilson truly is. This guy just called people patriots for beating cops on January 6th. Andrew Wilson laughs and he says, quote, "I love this guy." So in Andrew Wilson's heart, which I believe is bigotry, and I don't think Andrew's a very good person.
Yeah, it's non-Christian.
And if I do debate him again, I will bring this up. If you beat a cop during Black Lives Matter protest, Andrew is totally fine with calling them a thug or in this instance.
That's a great point.
Yeah. But if you beat a cop on January 6th and you call this person a patriot, Andrew Wilson says, quote, "I love this guy." And he starts laughing because Andrew Wilson is a moron. Let's continue the call. I think
that was a solid argument.
Yep, it's almost over. The KKK. Let me ask you another question, you imbecile racist turd.
So it seems that Shapiro's entire goal here, as irritating as it is to virtue signal to leftists.
Okay, let's stop.
It doesn't seem like he's actually trying to make
so virtual signal to leftists. So Andrew called me a liberal on Piers Morgan. By the way, there's nothing wrong with being a liberal. He says I'm virtual signaling. Literally every single one of the people that subscribe to Andrew's content are far-right racist turds, in my opinion. All Andrew does is curl himself into a Donald Trump MAGA pretzel 24/7. And he says, I'm virtual signaling.
Yeah, because he's saying that it was gratuitous to attack the Capitol. So he's saying you're trying to be virtuous by making a comparison. I don't even know if the guy understands religion. I think he just throws the Eastern Orthodox Christian thing out there as part of his. That's part of his like shtick. Like
he's not very intelligent.
He's a con.
The only thing, and I try to be very fair, as I've said from day one, and you know this. Anybody who beats a cop, I don't care whether it's Black Lives Matter or whether it's January 6th. It's awful. It's wrong. And I want you to be held to the highest extent of the law. You'll never hear Andrew talk about that when it comes to January 6th. Now, obviously, the caller might have an IQ of what the temperature is outside. It's unbelievable. Maybe that's giving him too much credit.
45.
But going back to Andrew, he doesn't understand why I brought up January 6th. You do. I want consistency.
But you did it as you didn't do it as a virtue.
No,
you did it as a question. You actually asked. It was an interrogatory.
Right.
It was a question.
So if you think that
you didn't say you
right.
guys are not virtuous if you believe this, that's not what you said.
Have you ever heard anybody on the right call somebody a patriot who beat a cop at a Black Lives Matter protest?
No.
Geez, I wonder, why is that? Why is it that we haven't seen Donald Trump or the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world or anybody on the right call somebody a hostage or a patriot who beat a cop during Black Lives Matter
Andrew
protest?
is a terrible debater.
Why is that? Let's continue this horrible
points for his worldview, but rather that he's really trying to kind of signal out to the leftists who could be a potential audience base for him that I'm on your side and I'm calling these people the names that you want them called and yada, 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 yada.
That's another thing.
If Shapiro is of...
every accusation is an admission.
First
because
of all,
what he's accusing you of, where you're counting your followers and you're trying to influence, that's what he's doing.
That's what he does. First of all, when I do anything on the air, it's not for a potential listener. And Andrew likes to brag about all the listeners he has. By the way, I don't even know if he does a daily show. He might. I don't even know. And he thinks that I need to say things on the air to get listeners.
That's not how it works.
Let me be very clear. In the 24 years I've been doing radio, I've never said anything on the air in hopes of it will only get me listeners. I don't speak to the left. I don't speak to the right. These are my own beliefs. I don't hide behind a religion. These are Brian Shapiro's beliefs. I don't say things to get clicks the way that Andrew does. And Andrew just showed his true colors by laughing when an idiot, imbecile caller who called into this show called the people who beat cops on January 6th patriots, and he laughs and he says, I love this guy.
Because he's not a good debater. He didn't know what else to say, Brian. You put him in a corner. Like, well, is this
I'm not
wrong
even
and is
debating
this
him.
right?
He's analyzing my video and he's making himself look like a moron.
You have a new anti-friend.
Here he goes.
Yada, 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 yada. If Shapiro is of...
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and that is the... come on, man.
Yada, 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 yada.
POS friendly.
Let me ask you another question. Since you think beating police officers on January 6th makes you a patriot, what would you say about Black Lives Matter protesters that beat police officers? What would you say about them? Are they patriots too?
They're savages.
Okay, so you're a savage if you're black and you beat a cop, but if you're a white person and you beat a cop on January 6th, you're a patriot. Is that your take, sir?
No, it's not.
No, yes, it is. That's exactly what you said. You said if you beat a cop on January 6th, you're a patriot. And I just asked you, what if you beat a cop during...
I was on Piers Morgan with him. That's true. I had equipment that was overheating because it didn't have AC in the garage.
That's what his wife says.
He also went on a rant about how I was making all that up.
He ran.
Where's the receipts? So I'll bring the receipts to the debate and show this idiot that he's stupid.
Okay, so first of all, he did not bring those receipts to the debate. Where are those receipts? Number two, I made the case to him because he doesn't understand what satire and humor is. When I was on the Piers Morgan show with him, he did leave unintentionally, I guess, halfway through the debate.
So he says, I'll say it. I don't believe him at all.
Okay, but here's what I put out as a tweet. It was a joke. I said, it didn't go very good for Andrew Wilson. I'm pretty much quoting verbatim. He dodged me in the middle of the debate. And then I put a smiley face in the end. I'm poking the bear because I thought it was funny. I did it as a joke.
That's what everybody
Then
does.
he responds with a diatribe. He calls me the R word. He calls me a libtard. He defends himself with a long... So after I see how triggered he got by what was an innocent joke, I kept going with it because I knew it was bothering him so much. And he's still angry over it. He's still talking about that tweet.
It was actually well-placed satire, and maybe he needs a class on that instead of debate.
This guy has satire. This guy has, like, imagine if you're this guy's wife. This guy has no sense of humor. He's like a 5 foot tall.
Smokes cigarettes constantly.
Yeah, he's overweight. He smokes his chain. By the way, allegedly you have kids, or maybe your wife's baby daddy. I don't even know the family situation. Really don't care. Shouldn't you be a father? This is what you do all day. You look at like my content and other people's content.
Oh my God, Brian, how many hours? I'm not an expert at it, but how many hours must he have spent getting this to look this way?
It's incredible. It's incredible. How much more time do we have in this?
He's stupid. He was trying to clout for him and say, oh, Andrew ran away, blah, 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 blah. This is all
Black Lives Matter protest and you called them savages. I caught you because you're a racist. Why don't you at least own it and admit that you're a racist, you white supremacist?
Everybody,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Not everybody beat a cop.
I didn't ask you about everybody, you stupid idiot. Answer my question. I'm going to ask it one more time, you white supremacist doofus moron, you. I didn't say everybody, you jackass. Answer my question. If you beat a cop on January 6th, we know people were charged and convicted, and we've all saw the video. If you beat a cop on January 6th, does that make you a patriot? Because that's what you said.
I mean, you can be a patriot and a criminal at the same time.
What would you call somebody who beats a police officer?
Not a very good guy.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you now for a fourth time and answer the question, you white supremacist idiot. If you beat a cop on January 6th, what does that make you?
It makes you a criminal.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Why was that so hard for you to admit? So here's my question for you, sir. When I asked you that question and you immediately called them a patriot, but yet when I asked you the same question about a Black Lives Matter protest, you call them animals. Why is that, sir?
Because they burned down buildings or looting.
And what did they do on January 6th? What did they do on January 6th?
I don't actually recall any buildings getting burned down on January 6th.
I'm sorry, I got to stop
they
them
they
again.
broke windows. They took.
I'll fact check myself here, but I'm pretty confident.
Andrew's interrupting you. Destruction of property. Whether they you're right. Whether they burned buildings or broke through windows and destruction of property, it's the same category of a felony.
They crushed police in the door.
Yeah.
They shot him with bear spray, which is not even for humans.
Do you see what Andrew's doing? Oh, I don't think they burned down buildings. The point that I was trying to make, and again, Andrew's not a very smart guy. It doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to make is the defense to racists or people like Andrew or this caller is, well, they burned down buildings. Okay. There was destruction of property, hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage. It's the same realm. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know the law better than I do. If I light a building on fire, or if I break a building with a hammer, they're both felonies, are they not? Destruction of property.
Depending on the amount of damage, yes.
Right. There were hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage.
If not millions.
Right. Probably millions. Is he not smart enough to understand that? I don't know. Let's just finish this. It's
myself here, but I'm pretty confident that.
Pretty confident.
Let's see.
Yeah, I like it how he does his Google search in the middle of breaking down I thought you were a professional master debater. Got to do a stupid Google while you're chain smoking, moron.
That's so unethical.
Nope, no fires that I can see.
Oh, you won.
I don't recall anybody saying anything about fires on J 6.
Wow.
Is the video over?
One was burned.
What are these pauses? He pauses for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't. Which one?
So, by the way, I don't condone that behavior. They're criminals as well. Yes, they did. They destruction of property. Are you kidding me? Defecating on Nancy Pelosi's desk, breaking windows. What the hell are you talking? She deserves it. She deserves it. Yeah. So you think it's okay if you disagree with a politician? You're totally okay with any everyday citizen walking in there and taking a crap on somebody's desk. Sir, you are not a serious person. You are Donald Trump's base. You are a white supremacist turd is what you are. And I hope you get deported to Gaza. And I mean that, sir. You are a racist idiot.
Why are you raising your voice?
Yeah. Okay. I'm raising my voice because you're a moron. That's why. And you're wasting my airtime. You are your typical Donald Trump supporter. We caught you. Proof that you are a racist. Apparently, if you beat a cop at a Black Lives Matter protest, you're an animal and a criminal. But yet, when I ask you that question about January 6th and people who beat cops, you're a patriot. That makes you a white supremacist, racist piece of garbage. That's what you are. James. James is next on PTL. Hello, James. He's analyzing another call. James, are you there?
Wow. He's got a lot of.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Hey, James. What's going on?
How are you doing today?
Good.
I was just seeing your social media over the weekend, and you posted a picture of the shooter was wearing a Trump shirt. Is this the case?
No, I don't believe that was. I believe that was a photoshopped image.
So you lied. So he lied.
Okay, so let me give people a little
fact check it.
A little bit of background. And I said that. Let me a little bit of background on what Andrew's talking about, because again, I posted and by the way, I admitted this on the air and I talked about it.
I thought it was real when I first saw it.
There was a video of, I believe, Tyler Robinson. Is that what we're talking about? And he was wearing a Trump shirt, and I kept that up for a couple days. And then when I found out that it was actually a Photoshop picture, I didn't Photoshop it. Looked real to me. I took it down. And then I said on the radio, yeah, there's a lot of people that Photoshop.
And you corrected the record?
Yeah. Yeah.
What else does he want?
Why is he calling me a liar? How does that make me a liar? Because I posted an image that I thought was real.
I thought it was real
He's
too.
so stupid. He doesn't even know the definition of what a liar is. But have a listen to this. It's unbelievable how wrong he is about this.
He didn't fact check it and he lied.
And I've said that publicly. And no, that's
so you lied.
What?
Refused to vet any of the sources and just flat out lied.
That's not an image. That was a real image. That was an image that was put up, I believe, by CBS, where he was wearing a different shirt. That's my understanding of it. But no, my understanding is that was a Photoshopped image. Unfortunately, we see Photoshopped images on social media all the time. I'm not someone who Photoshops images. I didn't do that.
But you just retweeted it.
Yeah. But what we do know is that he comes from a Trump-supporting conservative family. We know that. So does that...
Pushing the limit. Every weekday at noon on KSHP, North Las Vegas, FM, AM, 829-680 North Las Vegas, and KSHP.com.
Answer your question.
Well, I was just wondering because you left it up for multiple days after many people told you to Photoshop, and you still
That's
left
also
it up.
not true. So what do you want? Do you want to? Did that bother you a lot, sir? That bothers you as a Trump supporter?
Yeah. It's bothersome when you lie your ass.
Hold on a second. The guy.
Why can't he get in his frame
The
either?
the guy who supports Donald Trump. Now, this wasn't a lie. I just want to be very clear on that. When I found out that it actually was Photoshopped, I took it down. But this bothers him so much. You see the anger? He doesn't like liars. He literally supports the guy who lies every day, who lied about the 2020 election, the only president in American history who hasn't conceded an election. He lies about his health. He lies about his taxes. He lies about his business dealings with people that are overseas. He literally lies about every facet of his life.
Why can't he get in his frame either? Get in your frame, dude. Come on.
What is
this guy?
What is he?
He's talking
about?
So the guy who chain smokes on the Piers Morgan show is angry that I'm not in the frame. Is this guy in love with me?
Well, you know, he kind of...
Does he want to schniz lick me or something? I don't know.
Isn't it a sin to bear false witness against your neighbor? I mean, he's a big-time Christian, right? Isn't that in the Bible?
I don't even want to play any more of this video. Should we play a couple more seconds? I don't know. Should we ask people? All right, play a couple more seconds.
Like peeping his head over like he's in, what was that guy? Chris Hansen. He's peeping his head in like he's...
Now I'm a child molester? Is that what he's saying? I don't understand.
Have a seat right over there. Poking his head in.
What?
There's something clearly wrong with him.
He's trying to like mock me in the...
Come on, man. Get in the frame.
Well, you just need to be helped.
Does it bother you? Does it bother you as a Trump supporter? Tell me. Why? Does that bother you, sir? Does it bother you? No, tell me. Tell me.
Brian.
Okay. You get the point. So I'm a liar because I put up a tweet, a video that I thought was a real video. Then when I found out that it was fake, I did take it.
I forwarded it to my friends. I didn't know it was fake.
So that's what Andrew is doing now. I just wanted to let everybody know. He's so obsessed with me. By the way, I'm going to... Hold on. This is for Andrew. I'm doing this for Andrew because I know it gets him very upset. Very upset here. The non-schniz licker.
Why don't you get in the frame, Brian?
Does anybody have a cigarette? Can I put a cigarette in my mouth? Nobody smokes here. I was just going to do. By the way, when I do debate him again, if that does happen, do you have a pen? Can I smoke? I will put cigarettes in my mouth and a pickle jar right
Brian,
here. Yeah.
Why? What is your ethics on that? What is? Don't you understand Christianity?
I can't believe I'm asking my producer this. May I put this in my mouth? Okay. All right. Because you're not going to want to use. Ready? This is Andrew Wilson. Get in the frame, dude.
Now you got to go deeper. Get on the frame.
I think I like this orange. I think I like this leprechaun, this Jewish bald leprechaun. I think I'm just going to take my entire day, even though I have 8 kids, I'm going to take the entire day and just break down every single person that called into Brian's show because I have nothing better to do. Brian, I beat you in a debate. Brian, I beat you. Brian, I'm a master debater. I beat you. Get in the frame. I beat you, Brian. I beat you.
What is the ethical?
That's Andrew Wilson in a nutshell. He has to prove to the world. I think he really has to prove to himself, because he's such an insecure little girl, that he has to prove to himself how important he is, how much money he makes, how many followers he has, how he's a great debater. By the way, how many people do you think pay him for debating advice? Boy, would I love to talk to one of those people.
It reminds me of Trump University. That's exactly what it reminds me of.
How much of a loser do you have to be paying Andrew Wilson to get debating advice?
I guess he's got, there's a lot of good content out there. There really is. And Andrew seems to be somebody that uses that voice.
What is your ethical standard?
To you the ethic. He's very unethical, by the way. Oh, what about the smoking? What about the part of the Bible that says you can't destroy what God has created? What about that?
The guy who wants to preach ethics is the guy who supports and defends Donald Trump, who smokes cigarettes doing national TV shows and tells a woman to go lick schniz and calls her a dyke. And he wants to talk to me about ethics. I don't care where he gets his ethics or he has no standards. I don't care whether it's Christianity or whether he believes in the tooth fairy. I don't care what his religion is. The point was we were supposed to debate on Donald Trump, and instead it turned into a debate on rape. It turned into, on not necessarily rape, but when it comes to abortion, and then where he gets his ethical standards from. That's not a debate.
Can a Christian worship an immoral person? That's what I would ask him right to his face. And I would have said, do you think Donald Trump is a moral person or immoral person? Obviously, he has a morality problem. But can a Christian idolize someone that is immoral?
And
because that's what he's doing.
One other quick point, and then I want to take calls. So when I called into that right-wing show, and I told Andrew when he stalked me and he called in, which was very bizarre, by the way. I didn't know that was going to happen. It's like he's following me.
That's got to feel a little weird.
Very strange. I said, why do we need a moderator? Like, I can have a debate with somebody without a moderator. Me and Tim Pool didn't need a moderator, right? By the way, Tim Pool is on the complete other side of the ocean compared to this fool, Andrew Wilson. But I said, why do we need a moderator? He goes, well, because you're just going to yell at me and pod me down. And then I had to explain it because Andrew's never done radio before. He doesn't do a show, right? So I said to him, there is a difference between somebody. You have to be so stupid that I have to explain this to somebody. There's a fine line difference between somebody who calls into the show that I pod down, somebody that is not an invited guest, and somebody that is a guest. Listen, I've had some very pretentious and yelling matches with guests, but I didn't pod down Larry Elder when we did like a 45-minute screaming match. I've had Vivek Ramaswamy. I've had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I've had Caroline Leavitt. I've had some of the biggest people on the right do this show. And never once can I recall ever potting them down. He's so stupid. He doesn't know the difference between a caller who calls in and a guest who's invited on the program.
The mediator didn't even mediate, Brian. Let's call it what it is. I've been on panels where you were mediating and you were professional about it.
Of course.
All he did was bring somebody as a cheerleader, as a backup. As someone that could say, "Oh, we need to get to the super chat." Remember, guys, and you're like, we're talking here.
We don't need.
We're in the middle of a point.
Speaking of the super chat, I do want you to read them if you can. If you
we
can
had a couple
those up. But I want to open up the phone lines as well. The number 702-221-7283. We're going to get to the YouTube super chat. Not to compare Leonard with that moderator buffoon. 702-221-SAVE. 702-221-7283. By the way, there's plenty of more videos that I could play of Andrew Wilson dissecting me. But we got some YouTube super chats. Go ahead, Leonard, and we'll take some phone calls.
How about the first one from Lori? I was so frustrated with Andrew, who is a so-called religious person who doesn't care about the people who are alive now. How about the 10th commandments? Brian and Leonard, you tell the truth. You're darn right we do. And Sean says, all of this voluntary insanity is mentally exhausting. Thank you for being there. I don't know how you do it. You know how we do it? Because it's important. And because people listen. That's why we do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. I think there's a few more, Leonard, if you want to.
I couldn't find them.
Shelley said, Brian, the next time you debate, get a trophy and hand it to him. He needs a participation trophy.
That would be hilarious. If you had one hiding, like the little we get in boys soccer when they're like 5 years old.
Yeah.
And you say, here, you didn't win, but here's a participation trophy. In fact, I'll buy it for you and I'll leave it by your desk.
So funny. All right. I do want to open up the phone lines at 702-221-7283, and then we'll get a little bit later on. We'll get to more.
Can I just say something real quick? Because in the live chat for several days, there were people who saying, we were begging MAGAs to call. We're not begging. We're challenging them. And if you listen to my comments and your comments, we're challenging them to call in with a lucid argument, an intelligent argument, and tell us why it's okay to blow up fishing boats in the Caribbean Sea. Why is it okay for men in camouflage to go around in masks and throw Americans into vans? That's what we're saying. Yeah. We're not asking them to call in because we're like begging to hear from them. No one really wants to hear from them in the room, but we want to hear from them. I want to know why you think it's okay.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So anyway, I think maybe the only thing that is lucid is what's in Andrew's pants. I don't know. Possibility. I don't know about that. But anyway, Andrew continues to be obsessed about me. I have agreed to do another debate with him, even with that stupid moderator, so long as we actually debate on the real issues.
The Japanese say you're doing something right when your enemy is obsessed with you.
702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to X. X is first up on PTL. Hello, X. X, are you there? X marks the spot. X, are you there? X, are you with us? X, are you there? Sounds like
X,
you're
what's on your mind today? X.
Hello?
Hello?
Am I speaking with Leonard? Am I speaking with Brian?
Would you like me to get Brian on the line?
I'm speaking with Leonard or who?
This is Jeff. Do you want?
I'll see if I can get him.
Hold on. Let's try to get Brian on the line. Hold on. I'm sorry. Who's calling? Who's this? What is this in regards to?
This is X. What I wanted to call you and Leonard was I wanted to ask you what do you think about this legislation? My friend told me he thinks that Saudi shouldn't stop people from getting jobs anywhere whatsoever.
I'm really having so we're having a little fun, X.
People getting jobs.
This is Brian that is calling. Or I'm sorry, this is Brian that is doing the show, not Brian that is calling. This is X that is calling. Okay, so X, try to speak a little slower and into your phone because we really had a lot of hard time understanding. So go ahead and repeat your question.
What I wanted to ask you and Leonard was, do you think that people who have felonies should no longer be stopped with getting job applications or whatsoever? Since, whether people would agree that 34 felonies was fair or not, whether it was a kangaroo court or not, he got convicted regardless. So
correct.
What I'm saying is, if you can have a president, even if the 34 felonies are a farce, and he could still be the president of the United States. Do you think that other people who have other felonies, we should no longer hold that to a standard?
No, I think it's actually okay. I understand your question. I think it's the opposite. I think we need to hold the president to even a higher standard.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, so he's talking. So he's talking about the felonies and the fact that Donald Trump is a convicted felon. If Donald Trump could be the president of the United States and be a convicted felon, then maybe we should lower the standards for certain people. Maybe felons should be allowed to vote. Maybe.
Okay, if he wasn't the president, he'd be in jail. So that's not a fair comparison.
Donald Trump and any politician should not be allowed to be an elected official if you are a convicted felon. Donald Trump is a 34-count convicted felon. He should not be the president of the United States. We agree on that. Whether you disagree with the trial, whether you disagree with the case, that's not what we're talking about. So, X, do you agree with me that Donald Trump should not be the president on the one premise alone that he's a 34-count convicted felon? Can we agree on that? Okay, thank you for the call, X. I appreciate it.
Wow,
X just snizzed out.
You were very patient with him.
That was a sniz phone call. Every single time somebody hangs up the phone, we have our sniz of the day. Yes. 702-221-7283. Let's go to David. David is next up on PTL. Hello, David.
Oh, Brian, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you. Just before on this show now, you said to Leonard that you thought the guy, Jake Rattlesnake, who was hosting a debate between you and Andrew, you said he thought he did a bad job, and then you said he was stupid. But you were talking,
I went back and I listened to late last night. I went back originally when I did not go back and listen to it. I said, okay, well, he didn't really interject much, which, by the way, he didn't. The reason why I say he didn't do a good job, David, is not necessarily during the show. The reason why I say he didn't do a good job is because he didn't get the topic right. I had a private conversation with Jake, and we agreed the debate would be about Donald Trump's ethics, Donald Trump's behavior. And what he didn't do was he didn't jump in and say, hey, Andrew, okay, you already got past where you get your beliefs from. Brian gave you his. Let's now talk about Trump's behavior. He didn't do that. Hence why I don't think he did a good job, because he did. First of all, he got the time wrong. They weren't able to put my stream up. They promised me I'd be able to go live on my stream so people like you could listen to it live on my show. So that's why I say, David, he didn't do a good job in thinking back to, he got the whole topic wrong. Does that make sense?
Well, let me ask you this. Jake posted that thing on X of the conversation between you two, like a private DM or something, and he said the prompt was, "Is it ethical to support Donald Trump?" That's a different question from, "Is Donald Trump ethical?" And you agreed to debate, "Is it ethical to debate Donald Trump?"
Because we had a private 45-minute conversation. I can actually show the call log. And in that 45-minute conversation, we were just talking about Donald Trump and his behavior and why I think he has no ethics. That was what we were supposed to be debating. Now, Jake also not only didn't get the title right, and I didn't see the title because I assumed he would do his job correctly. I wasn't trying to check on the title before the debate. I didn't think I had to do that. Now I'm going to have to do that because Jake not only got the time wrong.
I'm not talking about the title. Yeah. I'm not talking about the title. I'm just, again, you specifically said, you said thank you when he said the prompt was, "Is it ethical to support Donald Trump?" That was the premise of the debate. Right?
And that's not what we. That's
not agreeing to debate that.
That's not what we debated. The entire debate.
You didn't really drill down on it.
No, it was not drilled down on.
That was what you debated.
No, it wasn't. It was about.
He went in Andrew went in all different directions. He started talking about morality and ethics and Christian beliefs and abortion.
Yeah, and
he wanted to talk about abortion more than just about anything else.
David, every single.
It was about ethics.
There is no non-partisan person that would say that that's what we debated for 2 hours. Here's what happened. Every single time I brought up Donald Trump's behavior or lack thereof, it always went back to, well, that's not as bad as 600,000 babies dying of abortion.
He changed the subject. That's exactly right.
Dave.
Well,
Dave, hear me out.
Can I respond to that?
Yes, but just hear me out for a second.
Okay, yeah.
That's not how you debate. Can we agree on that? He didn't get to the actual issues that we were supposed to discuss.
Well, here's the thing. Andrew said multiple times when you were bringing up, all the bad things that Trump would say and Trump would do about women cheating on his wife, things like that. And then Andrew said, "Look, I grant all of that," basically saying, yes, it's all bad, but it doesn't outweigh the good things that Andrew thinks Trump is doing. And that goes back to ethics.
I don't remember him.
He did not say it doesn't out-Trump the good things. He didn't even talk about the good things. All he said was about the 600,000 babies that were murdered. Again, his definition of abortion very different from mine.
And he was saying that thing which he views as a good thing,
David,
overrides the bad things Trump was doing. Again, just going back to an ethical conversation about
David, let me explain something to you. It was supposed to be about the ethics related to Trump. But every time Andrew Wilson was put in the corner by Brian, he reverted back to ethics, Christianity, and abortion. So he was pivoting at all points, but he never really spoke about abortion. So he kept pivoting. Brian tried to keep him on track. He wanted to get into an ethical debate on whether or not Brian had ethics and where they came from. But that was not what that's what Brian is saying. That's not what the debate was about. That's not what they agreed to. Okay. And in debate 101, that's a fallacy.
Andrew admitted, yesterday to me, he admitted that there was miscommunication. It's why he wants to do the debate again. He admitted that all three of us are going to get on the phone and make sure that we are on the same page. He would not do that unless he knew that there was a mistake that was made. And also, nobody can, and I'm not saying you're saying this, David, but while we might have disagreements, David, I don't think anybody could accuse me of being afraid to debate anybody, of being afraid to, go one-on-one with somebody. I'm not saying that you're saying that, but a lot of his very ignorant followers are. I didn't dodge anybody. In fact, I'll debate somebody for 5 hours if they're a big enough name.
Dave is trying to say that you got off the subject.
Yeah, which is that is
not what happened.
155%.
I'm sorry, David.
Thanks
for calling, but you're wrong.
Yeah, David, I disagree with you.
No.
Go ahead.
Completely wrong.
Quickly, go ahead.
Well, no, again, it just goes back to I guess I'd have to just repeat the same thing. It just goes back to what the prompt said. Is it ethical to support him?
And the prompt,
and then he debated.
But Wilson kept changing the subject, not Brian.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
He kept it on the subject.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He pivoted to abortion. He pivoted to ethics. He made it about Brian's ethics. He didn't make it about Trump's.
How did I go off topic? What did I say in that entire 2-hour debate that you would consider off topic in talking about Donald Trump? What did I do?
Well, because you said, here's why I disagree with Trump. And then when
ethically,
Andrew
sure.
Right. And then when Andrew was trying to get you to talk about the ethics of it and why it's ethical to support him, you kept bringing up, well, here's why Trump's bad, here's why Trump's bad. And he would say, yeah.
Yes, because ethics are morals. That's what you believe in. And right is right and wrong is wrong in ethics.
I brought up Donald Trump's behavior, the way he's treated women, the things he has said.
Unethical.
That is exactly
unethical.
Right. Why I think it's unethical. How could you say that's off topic? What are you talking about?
Well, no. Here's what I'm saying, because again, it went back to
he's circling back.
I guess I don't mean to keep saying the same thing, but it was the prompt was, is it ethical to support Donald Trump? And I guess you're saying that wasn't what was supposed to be debated. I can't.
That's not what he said. No one said that's not what's supposed to be debated, David. That was supposed to be debated. But every time Andrew Wilson was looking bad and looking stupid, he reverted back to the ethical, and I'm a Christian, and what about abortion and the 600,000 kids, which they did not agree to debate that at all.
Yeah.
That's someone who's running and hiding from the actual point that he wanted to talk about.
David, I appreciate the call. I am mesmerized that you don't understand where we are coming from.
He understands. He just kept circling back.
He does. Let's go to Democrat MAGA, who's calling in 702-221-7283. Hello, Democrat MAGA.
Merry Christmas, everybody. And by the way, I just wanted to let you know my pronouns are he, they.
Hi, Doug.
And
I
haven't got that memo. Are we still doing that stuff? I didn't.
Hi, Clarence.
All right, hold on a second. I don't know why Democrat MAGA. I don't know why Democrat MAGA starts off the phone call. He wonders why I get frustrated and why I abuse him every day. This is why. No. You called in the. Did he just hang up the phone?
No, I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm still here.
Okay. You called in the other day and you said Democrats think saying Merry Christmas is racist. And
What?
this was played on an XM satellite show, a show that I did the other day. I was a guest, and you sounded really stupid. I'm sorry.
Really?
Here's why. When you make a claim
What
like
the
that,
hell?
just because a few people might say it on social media doesn't mean the entire Democrat Party says it. I asked you to name one prominent person that has ever said that. You said you couldn't recall. So Democrat MAGA, don't start a conversation, my advice to you, by saying something that you cannot prove. And when you start talking about pronouns, which, by the way, I could care less about right now.
I just want to make sure those racist Republicans don't misjudge
All right.
me.
Well, ma'am, here's what I'd like to do, ma'am. Okay, so my dear, ma'am.
No, it's he, they.
Okay, so Mrs. Democrat MAGA, can you please make a point that's a little...
Yes.
Is he a millennial? Are you a millennial?
Make a point,
No,
I don't care.
Okay, so
Make a
the
point.
reason I'm calling is, I was so happy that you finally agreed with Herb. It was so awesome that you agreed with Herb that the National Guard in Washington, D.C. is a great thing bringing down crime. I almost crashed my Lamborghini.
I never said...
into a ditch.
Okay, so once again, you're mischaracterizing what I said. I never once have said it's quote. That's the problem. You don't listen. You make a claim. Now you listen, and I'm going to refute what you just said.
And then I'll refute what you refute.
Okay, well, that'll be my decision because it's
Does he
my
wanna be
show
called-
and not yours. I never said it was a good thing that he's calling in the troops to these cities. What I said was actually the obvious. It's putting a Band-Aid on a problem throughout the country. What do I mean by that? And I said this in the call, and it's mesmerizing. You don't know how to understand or listen to my points. When they leave, whether it be DC or Chicago, the crime rate will go back up. And it's hard for me to have a conversation with somebody that doesn't seem to understand.
Brian,
it.
quick comment.
Go ahead.
It's called the crime displacement theory.
Exactly.
Just so you know.
And I try.
So the theory is,
Yeah.
just to expand a little bit, the theory is you can overwhelm an area with zero tolerance and you would displace the crime. But you know what happens as soon as they leave, as soon as they have another duty? Guess what happens? Do you know what do you want to be called? They or he? She?
Call him her.
They?
Yeah, call him her.
No, he,
them?
they.
Is it them?
Ma'am.
They.
Just call him ma'am.
They.
Who
But
cares?
anyway,
They.
but here's my so Brian made the analogy of pick a busy street in Las Vegas where people are speeding all the time, and police put up a speed trap. And for a month, nobody speeds on that street. It takes all the speeders off the road, that type of thing. And then Brian said, and after a month, the police go away and everyone speeds again.
That's true.
So
is that not true?
So you're embarrassed.
Mrs. Ma'am, ma'am, is that not true, ma'am?
They.
Ma'am, is that not true?
Thing.
Answer
So
the question. Is that not true? Yes or no?
That's 100% true.
Okay,
But-
thank you.
So the Democrats now just shrug their shoulders and say, well, they're just going to speed anyway. Might as well not do nothing. At least Trump
No
is
one said
trying.
that. No one said that. No, you name one person who has said that. Name one person, one prominent figure that has said that.
Yeah,
that is a lie. That's unethical.
I'm still finishing my sentence. Would you say that troops in DC, I don't know, maybe they've been there a month. Would you say, and there's no way to prove for sure, that having them there possibly stopped 10 murders? Yes or no?
You can't base stats on. During Christmas we used to park a police car outside of Walmart.
Okay, so let me ask.
Stop crime, but you can't prove it.
I've let this guy, Democrat MAGA. Can you please explain to me if you do you think that why didn't Donald Trump go after and bring out the troops to the most dangerous cities per capita in this country? Can you please explain to me why it was DC and Chicago?
Tell me what's the more dangerous city?
Memphis.
What?
Memphis.
Just
gave you an example.
I think was on the radar. He did talk about.
I talked about it.
Hold on. Hold on. The question wasn't whether the president talks about it. I need you to pay attention. If in fact Donald Trump cares about crime in this country, he wants to lower the crime in some of the dangerous cities in America, why didn't he stop? Hold on. Here comes the question. Here comes the question. Wait for it. Why didn't he start with the most dangerous cities in the country? Could it be possible he just wanted to go to the Democrat cities with black mayors? Chicago. Can you please explain to me why? Why?
I would say in Chicago because the people are begging. Johnson has a 6% approval rating. Everything.
Okay, so let's stop you right there. Let's stop you right there. So you're defending not sending out the troops to the most dangerous cities, but sending them to Chicago because, quote, people are begging. Do you realize how stupid you sound?
Does Memphis have a black mayor?
So I ask you again, it's not people. You don't send troops out to cities because allegedly people are, quote unquote, begging. And by the way, there's a lot of people in Chicago that are begging them to
And there's
leave,
a lot of people begging all over the United States.
I'm going to name you 5 cities right now. And I wonder if they're begging. Memphis, Detroit, St. Louis, Oakland. I named you 4. Cleveland, another one. Can you please explain to me why he decided to go to Washington, D.C. and Chicago first? If, in fact, it's about cleaning up and lowering crime in the most dangerous cities, why didn't he send the troops out to those cities? Doesn't it go against everything that you are saying?
D.C. makes perfect sense. It's the capital of the United States.
Oh, because it's the capital. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So let's not send out. So hold on. So local law enforcement, the mayor said, we don't need you here, but because they're quote unquote by your standard the capital, we're going to put troops out to Washington D.C. first because it's labeled the capital, but we're not going to throw out those troops to the most dangerous.
It is the capital.
Okay, so because it's the capital, we are going to. Do you realize how stupid you sound? We're not going to go into the most dangerous cities. We're going to go into.
Can I ask him a question, Clarence? Can I ask you a question? I'm sorry, Can I ask you a question? Sure. Do you feel that? I mean, you don't have to answer, but do you feel that you're racist? Because I'm getting a racist vibe from you.
Of course, he is.
No,
not at all.
Do you believe that black people and minorities have the same rights and same opportunities in America as everyone else?
They have the exact same rights. There's not one law that discriminates a black person from a white person.
Right, and you believe they should have those rights, correct?
We should have those, you said?
Yeah, should minorities have the same abilities and the same...
And they all have the exact same rights and laws in this country. A black person, I can't do anything a black person can't do and vice versa.
Okay, so you're saying that you're not racist, but you don't see the analogy of sending troops into cities that are predominantly black and have black mayors? You don't see the analogy?
So let me just go with these. What's the downside? So if I don't commit any crimes and I'm walking around and I see a hardworking guy with the national, and I say hello, walk by, what's the downside?
The downside is it seems racist. That's the downside. It seems like it's targeting certain communities, and we all know that Trump has been accused hundreds of times of being racist. Let me ask you this.
If you're in that community, wouldn't you, let's just say you're a minority in that community. Would you be happy that, I'm like, if I was a minority in that community, I'd be like, Wow. Well,
here's how I feel about that question, Dave.
down.
Here's how I feel about that question. I would never compare myself to a person with black skin because I've never been hated for the color of my skin. And I can't imagine what it's like to get up every day and be a smart, productive person and a family man or a family woman and be a good person in society and have people hate you just because you happen to have dark skin, which, by the way, you can't do anything about that. You're born that way.
Let me just say this to Miss Democrat MAGA. Here's what I think Donald Trump should do. I would deploy all the troops into your home to inspect your hard drive. That's what I think they should do. I think we should have all these troops surrounding your home because I think I recognize your voice from the show To Catch a Predator. Have a nice day, ma'am. And if you're going to call back, please try to bring up some better points because you are ridiculous.
You need to work on it.
You are ridiculous. Ridiculous. 702-221-7283. 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Alex. Alex is next on PTL.
Hey, what's up, Brian? How you doing, man?
Good. What's up, man?
Hey, so I'm calling about the that joke of a guy, Andrew.
Yeah.
First of all, I've never seen a man smoke a cigarette more effeminately.
I wish you could play that clip for Alex.
By the way, I was going to say that I think you're right. I think you're right on that. Yeah.
And also the way he smokes. Have you ever seen it's Marty Short doing that nervous lawyer on Saturday Night Live? I'm not deflecting. No. You're the one who
You know what, Brian?
Smokes and changes. I forgot the character's name, but
Alex, can I ask you what? Do you agree with me that this man is extremely insecure? First of all, the fact that you have to chain smoke during an interview, which is weird enough, and he always has to say how much he destroys people in debates, almost to make himself feel better about himself. Let me be clear: when I'm going into a discussion, debate, whatever it is, I'm not going in there saying, "Oh, I just want to win a debate." I want to have an entertaining discussion and a conversation of substance. Their followers will think that person won. My followers will probably think I won.
Right? It's informative.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm not. It's like a 12-year-old going home and saying, "Mommy, Daddy, I won the debate."
You think he did that? He went home and said, "Guess what?
Like he's such a moron."
Guess what, honey? I won today.
Yeah. What person chain smokes during an interview on Piers Morgan? He looks like a complete fool. I don't know. I just think he's extremely insecure.
It was just odd. It was just odd watching. Watching it. Also, it was like you were debating a child, going, "I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah,
I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I?"
He circled back several times
over.
to points that were not consistent with the argument, that were some word salad sandwich about ethics and Christianity. And I watched.
By the way, and the few times he did answer a few of my questions, I said, "Can you give me one logical reason why Ghislaine Maxwell is being treated the way she is?" And his response was, "Well, maybe they want to get more information out of her."
The better they treat her, the less information they get.
I laughed. I didn't even know what to say. I laughed. And then I said to him at the end of the debate, I said, not much of a debate, but I said, if Donald Trump doesn't lie about the 2020 election, does January 6th happen?
He couldn't answer.
He wouldn't answer it. And it's like, listen, there are people that he debates that are too nice, that will let him bully, but I think he knows I'm not going to let that happen to me. And then I said, and then he wants to preach to me about ethics. And if you see the last minute of that debate, I think it was probably the funniest of them all. The last minute of the debate, I said, "You want to preach to me about ethics and Donald Trump, and you're the one who tells a woman to lick schniz, and you call a woman a dyke, right?" And then he says, "You told your girlfriend to kill herself."
Yeah, that was messed up. That was out of.
Is it ethical? Let me ask you something, Alex.
Let me just say, Leonard,
go ahead.
You have the floor. Just give me 20 more seconds here. Let me be clear on this. When we're talking about licking schniz, I can't even believe I've never said that on the air before. I've never even made that.
We probably set a record today.
Yeah, I've never.
He probably thinks it's icky.
Yeah, he probably does. So that's funny, right? You can make fun of somebody for using that terminology, and I was just quoting him, right? Can we?
And he actually said it. You're right.
Right. There's nothing funny about joking about suicide. I think we all could agree on that, right? We all know somebody in our life.
We've all had somebody. Exactly.
Yeah, right. And if you sound like you're a nice person, I know Leonard is. I think I am. I hope I am.
Thank you.
He made up how sick of an individual do you have to be to throw out a lie like that and say Brian told his girlfriend to kill herself? There's nothing funny about that. Not only is it not true, but it's awful.
It's unethical.
Yeah. And all I said was, "You told a woman to lick schniz." And then he says, "I took it out of context." What do you mean I took it out of context? I'm quoting you. Like what? Anyway,
Alex, let
Leonard,
me
go ahead.
ask you a question. Do you believe that it's unethical for someone who talks about ethics to worship an unethical person? Do you think it's ethical for someone who talks about Christianity and the furthest thing from Christianity that you could possibly think of? Is that ethical? Is that Christian in your opinion?
It's not, dude. I'm Russian Orthodox myself, so he does not represent my people. So just saying.
Well, I appreciate that, and that does not surprise me. The man has no ethics. He smokes cigarettes in the middle of interviews. He defends Donald Trump. He thinks that if abortion is murder, and he calls himself pro-life, but yet he defends every single time a Republican.
And yet he would not have a conversation, even with abortion.
Yeah,
he would not even have a conversation with.
And then he lied when I brought up the hundreds of thousands of kids that are waiting to have parents, that are waiting to be adopted, and he lied about those stats as well. It was not.
When does birth start, Brian? When does birth start? When is it a life? When is it? And you answered him what your opinion was.
Yeah, my opinion of it. Yeah, sure.
And he had nothing to say.
Okay, one last thing. So another thing, this Andrew guy reminds me, especially of your show today, reminds me of Kathy Griffin on Seinfeld doing the Jerry Show.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right?
Yeah, I remember that. That's funny.
And she was annoying and loud.
Yeah. But do you think I should do another debate?
Sally was the character's name. Sally something.
I'll do a little census here of some of the listeners. Do you think I should agree to debate him again?
Yes.
Yeah, do it again.
Yeah, nothing to worry about.
I probably call him out on all his BS.
I will. I'll see if he's licked schniz since our last conversation.
Nah.
All right. Thank you for the call. By the way, I said he should do that to his wife, and then he got very upset.
Yeah, but he's the one who got personal, and he told you not to be condescending when he was clearly being condescending.
I stopped him in that debate, and I said, because he was trying to be, you don't understand.
He was clearly being condescending.
Well, I stopped him, and I said, you're going to stop being condescending to me. You're not better than me. Your religion isn't better than me. And you can do this with other people. You're not going to do this with me. I told him that from the beginning. I don't tolerate that. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. All right, let's see. Who are we going to next here? Why don't we go to Brian? Brian is next up on PTL. What's up, Brian?
Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
What's up? You going to put me on or not?
What? Brian, what's on your mind?
Wait, hold on a second. Brian, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to right now?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I was listening to you on YouTube. When you guys have me on hold, I can't hear the radio station.
No problem.
I'm very sorry.
Okay, no problem. You're on the air now, Brian. Go right ahead.
All right, right on. I've been on for a while, so I just want to take it a little back to Andrew.
Sure.
Andrew, the only thing that Andrew is missing is to take that cigarette and put it around his head and smoke it like Andrew Dice Clay. He thinks he's funny.
How funny would that be? Oh my God, I can't
He
do it.
literally
dickory dock.
I am a comedian. Right? I have met Andrew Dice Clay.
So have I.
know Andrew Dice Clay,
So have
and
I.
he is no Andrew Dice Clay.
I got kicked out of his show in Vegas.
Little
once.
Miss Muffet.
Yeah, that's a funny story.
Literally, the guy is Andrew Dice Clay 2025. But he's not. It's so
only Andrew
pathetic,
Dice Clay
okay?
does have some talent, and he actually does entertain people. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. He is, sir. You are no Andrew Dice Clay. You remember back where he's I've met.
No, he's Andrew
Kennedy.
Dice.
I know Kennedy, sir. You are no Kennedy.
He's Andrew Dice Schniz. That's what he is.
Oh my God, the guy is just
He's a
so
schniz gobbler.
pathetic.
Can
His
we cross
whole
terms? Schniz
debating
gobbler of the day?
tactic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, his whole I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to use.
No, you're good. You're good. Listen, Andrew. I'm sorry. Did I call you Andrew? I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. Thank you for the call. I'm with
Thanks,
you.
Brian.
I would call him a Trump schniz gobbler. Can you say that?
Trump schniz gobbler of the day.
Yeah. So thank you for the call, sir. I'm with you. All right, let's go to Herb. Herb is next up on PTL. Hello, Herb.
Is this the Herb?
I don't know.
Yeah, this is the Herb.
All right,
Hey,
Herb.
Brian, I'm not gonna.
Herb, you're not even going to say hi. You're not even going to say hello, or?
Yeah, I said, hey, how you doing? I'm sorry.
All right,
Thanks a lot for
Herb.
taking my call.
I'm doing very well. How are you today?
I'm doing fine.
Herb, I wish you the best. You know that, right? You know that. I wish you the best.
I wish you the best too.
Every show needs a Herb.
Good. Go ahead, Herb. You've got the floor. Go ahead.
I wish you the best too.
Thank you.
One of the things that I just wanted to say, the only criticism about when you debate somebody, and I know you get into it with you guys, he tried to insult you and you tried to insult him. But I think, this is just my opinion, I want to see what you think. You got to be careful when you start talking about people's wives.
I didn't do that.
Or their family members and things like that.
I didn't do that. So what I was referring to, Herb, and by the way, when we had this 2-hour debate, I didn't bring up his family once. What we were referring to is somebody else that brought up his family. And then because she did that, he brought up her sexuality, called her a dyke, and then told her to lick schniz. The reason why I brought that up is because I think it's beneath anybody to attack somebody because of their sexuality. I never brought up his family. I never brought up kids or any of that stuff. The reason why I brought that up is because he carries himself and he talks about how he's such a wonderful Christian man and he's got his belief system and all that other stuff. It was beneath anybody, especially a Christian.
I think Herb's trying to cherry pick a comment and make a big deal
but
about it.
But I just want to correct Herb. I didn't bring up his family once.
Well, I thought you said to him, you are something about his wife.
Yes. So in the 2-hour debate, which is what we are discussing, I didn't bring up his family once. The reason why I brought that up in a joking fashion is because he was insulting a woman for, quote, licking schniz, which is a very weird insult. And I don't see anything wrong with doing that, no matter what your sexuality is. It's a really weird insult. And I said, maybe you should try it with your wife sometime. And by the way, I was being serious. Why wouldn't you want to please another woman, especially somebody that you love? So I don't think that's not an attack. Hold on.
Is he a problem with giving advice?
Herb, that's not an insult on his family. That's giving him advice and stop insulting people for wanting to please their partner.
I would think that would make you better friends.
Herb, doesn't that make any sense to you?
No, it doesn't, Brian. If I'm arguing with
Herb, what is the point? What is the point? Brian admitted he said it. It was a comedy.
That wasn't, and this is something else that Herb doesn't understand. That wasn't the debate. He called into a show He called into a show that I was already on. Okay. That was not
like a stalker.
That was not a debate. In the 2-hour debate or lack thereof, I didn't bring up his family once. So please move on to something else because I think
Herb, do you have anything to add to the conversation?
Please.
So wait, to help me understand, you were telling this guy Andrew to have his wife do that lick jizz. Is that what you were saying?
No, that's not what he was saying.
Okay.
He made a joke about the guy's wife saying, since you're talking about schniz licking.
It wasn't even a joke about his wife.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I don't think Herb understands what we are saying here. So Herb, Herb, I'm going to try to explain it to you one more time because I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood today. Okay, Herb.
Okay, me too.
Okay, Herb. He was in a conversation with a woman who happened to be gay. She brought up the fact that his wife has multiple kids with other men because the conversation was about Christianity. Okay. He got very upset. He called her a dyke, and then he said, go lick schniz, okay, which is, by the way, very insulting. So it sounds to me when you're going to attack somebody for trying to please your partner that he probably doesn't do that with his wife. So I gave him a suggestion when he called in, not a debate. And I said, you should probably try that with your wife. She probably would enjoy it. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to please your partner. That's not an insult on his wife. And that's not an insult on his family. That was me trying to explain to him wanting to please somebody you love. I would assume he loves his wife is not a bad thing. I would say that's a good thing. It's not even a joke about his wife. I think a lot of people laughed at it because it's true. I don't understand what part of that you
I don't understand what Herb's point is. What's your point, Herb?
It boils down to, let me tell you what it boils down to.
You're not understanding anything?
Listen.
You have nothing better to talk about?
Listen, why don't you listen?
Herb, I think you should
listen. You're not making any point. You're not making sense.
You're wasting my airtime, Herb.
All I'm saying is that it boils down to culture. Because I'm going to tell you, in the black culture, if you were to say something like that, whether it be in just any kind of way.
Okay. Andrew's not black. Okay.
Andrew. I have a lot of black friends, and we tease each other all the time, and I don't know what you're talking about.
Herb, do you please your wife?
See, that's what I'm talking about. Right?
I don't think you do. Herb, have you ever pleased your wife?
Oh, you struck a nerve.
Herb, have you ever given your wife? Herb, have you ever? Herb, have you ever? Herb, have you ever? Herb,
I had a wife.
Herb, have you ever?
None of your business.
Herb, have you ever given a woman an orgasm?
Okay,
technically.
Okay, Brian. Let's
Mushroom Herb. Mushroom Herb. Have you ever given a woman an orgasm? Herb, have you ever given a man an orgasm?
It's just gone.
It's not my business. Okay, I got
Well, you know what, Herb? Your question, your point is just foolish. You're just being foolish.
Yeah.
And if you have
you're
something
gonna
to
be-
add to the conversation or something
Notice
that we
how-
could help, yeah. I mean,
We have the schniz caller of the day. Herb just hung up the phone.
Thank
By the
you.
way,
Thanks, Herb.
notice how that ended the call. He wouldn't answer my question. That's very interesting. Very
Oh,
interesting.
but when you don't answer his question, Brian's not answering my question.
Yeah, very. By the way, I don't think Herb has ever given a woman an orgasm in his life. Let's go to Shelley. One thing Herb has in common with Donald Trump, by the way. Hi, Shelley.
Hi, Brian. When you ask Herb that question, he should immediately answer it, because then
Yes.
you're thinking, oh, well, maybe not. But I watched Andrew. Oh, God, I can't say nothing. Okay. I watched him talk about you after that so-called debate. He said that you had no arguments, you wouldn't engage, and you ran away, and the so-called moderator was laughing as well. So he's like,
Yeah,
a
here's something else.
cheerleader, like
Here's
Leonard
something
said.
else. Here's something else that those idiots don't seem to understand. I have studio time here, 12 to 2 p.m. I had to get out of the studio at an exact time.
Exactly.
And they're very stupid, and they don't seem to understand how a real radio show works, because they've never done radio before. They just go on their stream anytime they want, and they can go as long as they want, and nobody has to tell them to leave. I have a specific time every day that I need to leave the studio. They're obviously not smart enough to understand that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We knew that because you always have to leave at 5. Well, my time 5.
Right.
But we knew that. We knew you didn't run away.
Right. Of course.
But, oh, God, I can't stand that. There's 2 people on earth I hate. Andrew Wilson and Donald Trump. And I've never hated anyone
They have a
in
lot
my
in
entire
common,
life.
Shelley.
Yeah.
They have a lot in common.
Yeah. It's funny how they say run away, and yet I just had 2 hours of hell with these imbeciles. And then they think that the reason why by the way, we agreed to doing 2 hours, so I wasn't running away from anything, and I had to be out of the studio at a certain time.
Yeah.
So again,
Okay, honey.
I probably will not do the debate live on the radio for a couple different reasons. First of all, every word out of this guy's mouth is a swear. And number 2, I don't want to be time constraints.
And no moderator.
Right. I don't want to have time constraints. I would rather be on my laptop somewhere where I can talk to them as long as I can, and there's no time constraints. I could probably go live on my YouTube page through my laptop and through my camera, and I probably will do it that way.
Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you, Shelley,
All
for the
right,
call.
bye-bye.
I
Always
appreciate
good.
you.
Good call.
Let's go to Jeff. Jeff is not next up on PTL. By the way, the number to call 702-221-7283. And again, that number 702-221-7283. I want to thank my good friends at Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo Jones. I was actually there the other day. I had the best lunch I've had all week. I'll definitely say that. Great food, great atmosphere. The Pass the Puck contest during Vegas Golden Knights home games, where you could win up to $500 of free slot play. They got some great promotions out there. Please check them out. Support our sponsors, Jackson's Bar and Grill. And we still have to grab lunch over there, by the way.
I want to go over there and try the food out, but someone is. I'm retired, but someone is always busy.
Maybe Numchuck could put up a few more YouTube super chats. Did we miss any, or do we have? Are we good?
I think we missed one, didn't we?
Well, I definitely don't want to leave anybody out that supports the show. Leonard Numchuck has just put up one, so it should be up there in a couple seconds here, and then maybe you could read a few more YouTube super chats. And I also want to say the founder of the Un-F America Tour, a group that, by the way, Andrew has crapped on, but yet he's agreed to do a debate out there in Phoenix. I'm going to be out there too. It's very strange. But Z Cohen, the founder of the Un-F America Tour, is going to be joining us in studio tomorrow.
Great.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. She just did a Jubilee debate, and she was a part of it with Pierce Morgan. So I'm going to play some of those clips tomorrow and talk to her about it. And then we're going to promote the Un-F America Tour. I will be there as well in Phoenix at AmFest. Myron Gaines, I'm going to see him out there. Andrew's going to be out there at the Unif America tour. So we're
I'm
going to
make a prediction. Andrew Wilson is going to follow you around.
He might. I don't know.
And he's going to listen, and he's going to take clips of you talking and sitting there chatting with people.
Yeah.
And he's going to post it and say, see, Brian's down here and he's causing problems.
Yeah. The guy who I called in, the right-wing podcaster, he wants to debate me at AmFest. So maybe we'll get that to happen. I don't know. But Adam Mockler is going to be out there. Adam Mockler just signed up with the Unif America tour.
He's blowing up.
So I love Adam. Adam's great. Destiny and Mockler is going to be out there debating Myron Gaines and Andrew. So there's going to be a lot of fun out there. And
sounds like it.
I don't think he would mind me saying this. Parker from Parker Get a Job. He's very popular on social media. I'm going to be collaborating with him out there in Phoenix. We're going to be doing some videos. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to work with
those are some
Parker.
big names, some up and coming names right there.
Yeah. Well, Parker's already up. That's for sure. And he continues to up and coming. But and I like Adam Mockler. Adam's been doing my show for years now. And I knew the first time Adam did my show that, man, he's going to make it big because he's really smart, very talented. I like his debating techniques. I have just a different style, I guess you could say. But as I mentioned before, and I'll mention this again, people can say what they want about me. It doesn't bother me at all. But I'm not an insecure person. I don't care what people think about. What I really care about are people like friends, family. I don't go into a debate and saying, "Ooh, I beat you." Guys, I beat Brian Shapiro in a debate. That's, by the way, that's my impersonation of Andrew. It's just so weird. It's so insecure that a grown man feels like he has to tell people he won the debate. I won. It's like, it's so strange. Me and Tim Pool were laughing about this stuff. It's like your fans and people who support you are going to think you won. People on the other side that support me are going to think I won.
Well, I think one of the reasons he's playing so many clips and commenting is because he knows that he didn't do a good job. And I think what he's doing is damage control, and he's trying to unravel it, and say, oh, see what Brian said there. And I made that point, but I think he clearly knows. And it's kind of like a tough guy going around telling everybody how tough he is. Tough guy never has to say how tough they are.
Tough guy doesn't have to smoke to make him look tough.
And go,
One more quick one. Do we take one more quick call? Let's go to Jesse. Jesse, what's up?
Hey, Brian, you're an insecure cuck.
Okay, thank you. So no, don't hang up on him.
You're fair.
Don't hang up on him. So Jesse, I'm happy to have a conversation with you, but we're live on the radio, so please watch your language. Give me an example of something that you think I do or I have done on the air, something that I've said that would lead you to believe that I am a very insecure person. Go right ahead.
You're like, I'm not insecure. I'm really secure.
So I'm an insecure.
Dude, come on, dude.
Okay, got you. So your one example that you gave me. Hold on. Your one example that you gave me, Jesse. I'm on the air 10 hours a week, by the way. And the hold on. Yeah, 2 hours times 5, dummy. That's 10 hours, douchebag. So the one example that you could give that you think I'm an insecure person is because on the air just now, I just said I'm not.
Well, so Jesse, it was a comparative statement. Brian was not talking about himself directly, trying to make a statement. He was comparing himself to Andrew Wilson, who's an insecure person.
Exactly.
And he was, and the context was that he was trying to explain that he was not like
Jesse, you're not going to disrespect.
You gotta listen.
You're not going to disrespect my co-host because he has more courage in his pinky than you have in your whole insecure body.
I'm just trying to explain to him that it was not an affirmative comment. It was a response. It was a comparative comment.
Jesse, what is it like living your life with Jesse? What is it like? Jesse, shut up. What is it like living your life with a micro? What is it like living your life with a micro penis? What is that like, Jesse?
He might be the schniz gobbler of the
day. Exactly. Jesse, do you have any other examples? Do you have any other examples, Jesse? Other than me saying I'm not insecure.
Somebody in the chat is saying it's Dan.
Yeah. Jesse,
Dan the Leonard fan.
What's up, chat?
Hold on, Jesse.
What's up, chat?
Jesse.
Is that Dan the Leonard fan?
Okay, so
oh my God,
Jesse, are you going to give me another example, or is that the only example? Whatever his name is, I don't care what his name is.
The old Dan the Leonard fan.
Yeah, I don't care what his name is. Jesse, we have
talk
one
about
more.
Insecure. Oh my God,
Jesse, we have one more minute here. Are you going to give me an actual example, or is that all you got for us today, Jesse? Another stupid ad hominem attack, or what is it, Jesse? Anything?
That's not ad hominem.
Okay, so give me an example. So give me an example.
Anytime anyone offered you any constructive criticism, like what Herb was saying, you pretend to not understand what Patrick was saying.
Oh my God, it was. I couldn't even understand what he was talking about.
So
Dan,
Jesse, hold on. Jesse, that was not constructive criticism. Okay. Constructive criticism would be next time you call into a show, make a point so you don't sound like you have an IQ of 20. What Herb did was he called in and he didn't understand what licking sniz was to begin with. And he also didn't understand that that wasn't the debate that I was in. That was a different situation. So thank you for embarrassing yourself. I appreciate the phone call. And please do something about that micro.
Can we send Dan a bill for giving him psychological therapy today on the air?
Very insecure guy that just called into the show. I think he's very insecure because he said he's secure. Great point, sir. Great point. You're very intelligent.
And by the way, I'm not insecure.
Leonard, thank you so much for
having me.
You're such an insecure person for saying you're very secure. Thank you for being here, Leonard. It's always a pleasure. I appreciate it. The founder of the UNF America Tour, Z Cohen, is going to be joining us in studio tomorrow. Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope this doesn't make me insecure. Have a great.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Here's the deal. The country's a mess, and America's youth is stuck at the center of a tug-of-war between propaganda, billionaires, and political clowns who think TikTok is a national security threat, yet can't open their own email. But the real threat that keeps them up at night isn't TikTok. It's the power of the youth vote, and that's what the Unfuck America Tour is after. We're traveling the country, hitting campuses and cities, exposing the right wing's playbook and calling out all the tricks they use to hook young people. We saw